Born on January 9, 1959, Rigoberta Menchu played a significant role in the fight for peace and social justice in Guatemala. As a human rights activist, Menchu demonstrated her passion for the liberation of her people by raising awareness of the conflict and brutalities occurring in Guatemala. Similarly to Mahatma Gandhi in India, Nelson Mandela in South Africa, Miss Key in Burma, and Martin Luther King Jr. in the United States, Rigoberta Menchu dedicated her life to the fight against the oppression of her people, the indigenous natives of Guatemala. The Guatemalan Civil War lasted from 1960 to 1996. Menchu's father had played a role in the resistance as an opposition leader, and as a result, Menchu witnessed many of the atrocities and acts of violence committed during this time. In 1981, security forces killed Menchu's brother and parents, causing her to flee to Mexico for safety. In an effort to fight against the injustices of the Guatemalan government, Menchu joined the Peasant Unity, a group that her father had formerly led, and worked to raise awareness in Latin America of the injustices brought upon her people. In 1981, Menchu's autobiography, I, Rigoberta Menchu, released into the public in the English language. Her book played an influential role in raising awareness for her cause by describing the brutality and atrocities committed by the Guatemalan government, and helped her acquire the Nobel Peace Prize in 1992. However, after attaining the prize, controversy broke out regarding the accuracy of Menchu's testimony, and it was found that some of the stories she told about herself were untrue. Though evidence suggested that Menchu had not directly experienced many of the stories she told, all stories had basis in that they did occur to someone in her native tribe, the Quiche community. Despite the controversy that broke out, the Nobel Foundation director did not strip Menchu of her prize. Rigoberta Menchu's speech, the Nobel Lecture, which she gave in 1992 after the acquirement of her prize, can be characterized as an epidectic speech, or a speech that focuses on praising and censoring. I consider this prize not as a reward to me personally, but rather as one of the greatest conquests in the struggle for peace, for human rights, and for the rights of the indigenous people who for 500 years have been split, fragmented, as well as the victims of genocides, repression, and discrimination. In this statement, Menchu creates a sense of appreciation and gratitude for those who fought against the injustices brought upon her people. However, while commemorating and praising the lives lost as a result of the injustices in past generations, it also indirectly censures the actions of the oppressors. If we look closely, however, she implicitly leaves out who their oppressors were for those 500 years, who were primarily of European descent. Because she is aware of the fact that her primary audience consists of European elites, Menchu cleverly leaves out the agent of action. In her speech, Menchu also effectively incorporates pathos, or the appealing of emotions. She states, "Let there be freedom for the Indians, wherever they may be in the American continent or elsewhere in the world, because while they are alive, a glow of hope will be alive as well as a true concept of life." In this statement, Menchu appeals to the emotions of her Guatemalan audience by centralizing around the theme of hope. In this case, and in other parts of her speech, her incorporation of hope indicates her acknowledgement of the oppression, the current conflicts, and the ongoing struggle for peace around the world. Despite the difficult circumstances, however, Menchu desires for her people to continue hoping for the end of oppression, and to persevere until it is achieved. Throughout her speech, Menchu builds her credibility and reliability by her constant identification with the nation's people and by referring to her own experiences. She states, "We have in our mind the deepest felt demands of the entire human race when we strive for peaceful coexistence and the preservation of the environment. The struggle we fight purifies and shapes the future. Our history is a living history that has throbbed, withstood, and survived many centuries of sacrifice." Rather than use the words such as they or Guatemalans, she specifically chooses to repeat the words we and our, thus stimulating a sense of unity among the Guatemalan people. From her specific word choices, Menchu preserves her national heritage through pride and identification with the people, thus building credibility with the listeners and asserting her prolonged connection with the Guatemalan people.
The peculiarities of the vision of the Indian people are expressed according in the way in which they are related to each other. First, between human beings through communication. Second, with the earth as with our mother, because she gives us our lives and is not mere merchandise. Third, with nature, because we are an integral part of it and not its owners. The strategic usage of cultural vocabulary allowed Menchu to appeal to her audience for help from the Maya Indians in Guatemala. She explains that the Indian people express three visions of how they relate to everyone else. Establishing a relation with the whole audience Menchu uses this relationship to strategically make the audience wonder if they would let anyone related to them suffer from ethnocide. Reminding the audience that the Maya Indians are humans with a culture who do not deserve such atrocities, Menchu indirectly compelled the audience to help